These are the memories of Paul and Dorothy Yearout, childhood sweethearts, whose life together has formed a rich tapestry of memories. With over 6 decades of love, laughter, and friendship, through it all they remained true to themselves and to each other, communicating and putting mutual happiness above any selfish pursuits. Paul and Dorothy are a testament to what a beautiful endeavor marriage can be, and a shining example of what is possible in love when both people choose to be happy. This is the powerful story of Dorothy and Paul Yearout, in their own words, looking back on 67 years of life together. Can you tell everybody your names?
Paul Yearout. Paul Yearout.
And I'm Dorothy.
And you're Dorothy Yearout.
Used to be a Russell.
Used to be Russell?
Used to be Russell.
Oh, Dorothy Russell?
Dorothy Russell.
And how long have you both been married?
67 years.
So what's the secret to 67 years of marriage?
Oh, Wesley. What was your secret?
Hard work and a good cook.
She is a good
That's
cook.
what kept me going.
She's a good cook.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the beginning. How did you meet?
Well, we just we went to the same church. His sister and her husband, they went to that church and brought him.
What year was this?
That was what year?
46.
No, honey, that's when you got back from the army.
Oh, before I went.
That's when we went to church.
Yeah.
Just young.
A good cook and a good memory.
Just young. Young. We was about too young to remember. And my mother and daddy went to the same church. And of course I was with them, me and my sister.
How young were
Yeah,
you?
maybe I was, 10, 11?
More than that.
More than that?
Yeah, you must have been about
12?
13. 13.
So you've known each other since you were 13 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Earlier than that, I'd say.
Now, did you know you were going to marry this
No.
lovely lady?
No, we didn't thinking about nothing like that. At that
We
time.
went together a long time and
We didn't really go together till you got back from the army.
well, I was living in Maryville. I'd go out, I had a bicycle and I'd go out to their place on Sunday evening and I'd mow their yard for them on Sunday.
We lived out here. It's a wonder Daddy would have let you have done that.
Yeah, I know it, because he was real strict, religious.
When was it for you that you started to think, oh, this might be the man I marry?
Oh, I never even thought about marrying then at that time, you know.
We was just courting.
Just courting a little.
How long did you court for?
Well, he had to go to the army, you know.
I kept in touch with him for 3 years while I was in Italy, you know. And when I come back, that's the first person I seen.
So you wrote her for 3 years?
Oh, yeah.
You guys wrote each other back and forth?
Well, not too much at that time. I never wrote him too much in the army while I was in the army.
But my sister lived next to him, and she kept me
know all the
informed.
news, you know.
I wrote her about every other day.
So when you came back from the army, that's when you two started really dating?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
when we
How did he ask you out? Was it the first time he asked you out? Was it?
didn't really ask me. We just his sister. See, he didn't have a car or anything, you know.
At
So
that time.
you had to go when somebody else went. We really met at that time up at his daddy's. His mother, was she alive then?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was alive then. But we
Yeah.
met up there. I would go up there with her because we went a lot of places together, and I would go with her. And at that time, he was up there. There he was. So that's when it started.
And you just started dating just
Yeah.
because you were friends?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. 'Cause
And that's a great way to start a relationship, 'cause you're
we
friends.
already knew each other, you know, and our families knew each other, and so there wasn't any problem with that.
Right.
I had a red dress. A red dress.
The first time you went out, you had a red dress?
First time we went up to his daddy's.
A red dress.
A red dress and some alligator shoes. They were low heels, but they were alligator, brown alligator.
Is this your first date?
Well, if you want to call it a date, we just sat there and talked with his mother and daddy, Nellie. Nellie was the ringleader, I guess. We were with her a lot. Both of us. He wasn't with her. I was with her.
That's my sister.
No,
Yeah.
is your sister. And how
Yeah.
were you dressed? Did you dress in a suit that day?
This
No.
shirt and
Where'd you take her?
Nowhere. He didn't have nowhere way to take me.
we didn't go until
We didn't have no car or nothing. When we go, we have to go in the back seat of Nellie and Bill's car.
So when
And
was
he
the
didn't-
moment for you when you started to think, this might be the girl for me that I want to spend the rest of my life with?
you had to get approval from her daddy first. Okay.
Did you sit down and have a big meeting? It sounds like it was like a real nervous to try to.
Well, I was.
No, we went.
Well, I wasn't too much because I come out of the Army and, after you're in there for a while, you don't get too nervous,
How long have you been dating at that point that you finally went and asked, hey, what did you do? Did you have a
was,
big meeting with him and say, I
No,
want to
that
ask
was
your
in
daughters?
January.
that was after I got out of the Army.
He got out of the Army in January. We got married in March, wasn't it?
Yep.
That was kind of fast work, wasn't it?
That's pretty fast work.
I was in a hurry.
Of course, we didn't have any transportation. He didn't have any car. Of course, he come out to the house about every night or two, and we ate peaches and cake and had a big time.
Her mother baked,
Mama
Cake
canned a lot of peaches. And
canned a lot
we
of
just had
peaches, and
peaches and
we just have a little
you know,
party.
a little party about all the time.
It worked out pretty good.
So when you got married, where did you end up getting married? With big church
At home.
service? Was it a big church?
At home,
Yeah, in
You got
her,
married at home?
in
Yeah.
her home.
in my home.
In your
Had-
parents' home?
Had the preacher and all.
How many people were at your wedding?
Oh, it's I don't really know.
Family members.
Family,
Small
and
wedding?
yeah, the neighbors. The
Yeah.
neighbors came in.
Yeah, there's
What did you wear at your wedding?
I just wore a light blue suit and white blouse.
So no white wedding dress.
No white wedding dress. No wedding dress. Didn't get no outfit. Something I already had.
She looked good in it.
We didn't have the money to go out and buy stuff like
No.
that.
Did
I
you
think-
did you have money for a ring? Did you have a ring for her? Or?
Yeah, he had a little ring. He managed
Yeah.
to get that on credit.
And I went to town and got a shave and a haircut and got kind of powdered up good, for the wedding.
Suit, new suit?
Huh?
New suit?
No, I didn't get no new
No
suit.
suit?
No,
No, it's casual.
Casual, nice little quiet wedding at home.
there's
And
something.
did you get a honeymoon? Did you go somewhere?
No, we didn't have no money to go nowhere.
That's sweet. And then you moved to where?
Well, we moved to. We lived with Mom and Daddy a while.
So you began your life married and you lived with your folks.
Yeah, they had an upstairs apartment,
Their house had upstairs.
and
where
we
got married.
we stayed up there most of the time, and then after that, well, I went to work for Alcoa, and we kind of rented us a house in Maryville.
But he'd get time we got started, he'd get laid off,
Yeah,
about 2 or 3 times with that, and you just still ended up with nothing, so we decided to go north. Of course, he had been up there, then he went up there several times and come back before he got started to work.
yeah, I got laid off 5 times at Alcoa, and I told Dorothy, I said, now I'm tired of this. Every time I buy furniture or dining room suit or something, I'd get laid off, And so we sold out what we had, and I had an automobile in, and we went
Now,
went
we
north,
had the kids we had the kids then.
and we went
we went-
as 1950.
Flora was 4 and Brenda was 2.
So it's 1950s, and you got 2 daughters now. You've
yeah,
been married how long now?
46.
And you decide,
to leave here.
And we got a 1950 new Chevrolet.
Bought that while I was working down Alcoa.
We bought it on credit. And when we started to leave out, when my dad came, he said, "How much you owe on that car?" And so we went in there and he paid it off.
I owed $1,000.
He paid it off.
He paid it off, and then after we got jobs up north, well, we paid him off, and you know,
where'd you go up north?
we went to Indianapolis, Indiana, and I got a job at Chrysler's, and she got one at Western Electric, building telephones.
Building telephones.
Yeah, making
You're building
telephones.
cars, and she's building telephones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working for a Chrysler and driving an Oldsmobile. That wasn't too good, but I worked it out, you know, before it's over.
How'd you like Indianapolis?
I liked it. It
We-
was a lot like here.
Yeah,
You know, it was a lot of people were from Tennessee and Kentucky.
And how long did you live there?
we lived there 10 years, and
We come back here in 1960.
I told Dorothy, we got to get out of this place because they'll marry one of these Hoosiers up here, you know. I said, I ain't wanting them to marry no Hoosier.
You
So
didn't want your daughters married a
I thought
Hoosier.
I'd come to Tennessee and they'd marry a Tennessee, you know. One of them married a Tennessee and the other married a North Carolina dude. Dude, I called him, you know. But I didn't really mean it like that, you know.
So I'm trying to figure out, like, you had jobs, and then where did the business come in? You had your own business, right?
Well, when we come back here, before we came
1960.
back, my dad was ready
What
to.
year? What year was that?
1960,
We're in 1960
we
now.
came
My
back.
dad, they were in partners out here at this store with Ollie White. He lived next door. He'd been in there, and Daddy, they wanted Daddy and Mama to come in because they'd been in store business before. And both of them had been. So they decided to partner up and go in this store out here, and so they did, and then Daddy got ready to retire. So he wanted us to come and take his share and go in that business and get us back home. So we did. We just quit our jobs and to Tennessee we come.
We was making good money, both of
Well,
us.
it wasn't so good according to now, but it was good back then.
Yeah.
You know.
So you left those jobs to come here and have your own business, though, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how did you like that?
But that worked out good. You know, we was in partners for a while.
He had a smaller, it was a smaller store back then. And after I bought him out, it didn't take me long till I remodeled and
It
rebuilt.
wasn't the
and-
same building.
Well, no, well, it's the same building, but it's
Yeah.
different.
Well.
I built onto it,
Yeah.
you know, a lot bigger. I had a big storage room, big, and I had anything anybody would want about it. If I didn't have it, I'd get it for them. They just had to mention it. I'd have it.
This was like a country store?
Yeah.
Where people came
Yeah.
from the community to buy things
Yeah.
and to get their...
We had regular customers, you know, that worked at Alcoa, and they trade with us every week. They'd come in and buy all their groceries there.
Yeah,
Gas, groceries, and feed, and whatever they needed.
we had a big tractor trailer delivered
This
out
one
there.
guy, if he wanted tires, he'd tell Paul what he needed some tires, and Paul would have them next week he came, and Paul would have them there ready for him to get.
Battery or anything they wanted.
Did you ever imagine that you would be the people that everybody came to when they needed help?
No.
When they needed something?
No,
That must have been a good feeling.
But if
and some of them, they like to have credit.
I had a few customers, you know, men, that sometimes they come along and be broke, want to get some gas, want a credit, go to town. And I'd say, well, open up your trunk, you know. They'd open up their trunk, and I'd either get a jack or a spare tire or something laid out there, and I'd say, when when you get the money, you come by and I'll give you your product back. I made sure I had
spare tire ransom.
I had a
Come
ransom.
back, we're gonna do something to the tire.
Yeah,
We're flattening the tire.
well, we worked it out real good. We was in there.
But there was some that came by and he just let them have credit right off because he knew them, you know.
Oh
He
yeah,
knew they were okay. And years later, they've told us how they appreciated that, you know, because they needed to get it
we were in there
on credit at that time.
We were in there 17 years. I just lost on one person, little money, not much. Out of that many years, you know, in the store, we had a
Well,
good
you'd
credit.
lost little
We had this kind of thing you could raise up, and
groceries.
keep credit and everything, you know. But we need,
17 years, really only one person. That is
yeah,
amazing.
we sold our business in 1976, and then I went to Knoxville and worked a while for my daughter, 10 years.
You worked for your own daughter?
Yeah,
Who
in the roadway inn.
So you worked at the hotel up until the 80s?
No, I worked there 86, maybe 88,
85 or 86, I think it was.
something like that. Then I just retired.
I'd retire too. I'd be tired after all
That's
that.
it.
Running a business, the army, Italy, I'd be done.
We done a good job. I mean, there wasn't nothing that we couldn't get done, you know.
You start out with nothing.
Yeah,
Build your own little empire is amazing.
yeah. We worked all of our life.
I'm gonna ask you first, Dorothy. What's the secret to a long-lasting marriage?
You stay in church.
Church helps keep
Church
you together?
helps keep you
How?
together.
How?
It's just you read the Bible and you pray and you ask the Lord to help you.
She's read it through.
You'll stay on the right way when you do all that. When you do all that and hear the word preached and all, you'll know what to do. And if you do it, it'll make a better person out of you.
So what you're saying is your faith is what's helped keep your marriage strong.
That's right.
Yeah,
And what about you, Paul?
I'd have to say amen to that. Yeah. If I hadn't been living right, I don't know what would ever happened, you know. I don't want to know.
Did she keep you straight?
Yeah,
She kept you in line?
yeah.
If it wasn't for her?
I don't know what would have happened, you know, in my lifetime.
Yeah, it's love's in there somewhere too. You know,
Yeah,
you you've got to have the love.
it will make you walk straight, act like a person, be a man, and act like a Christian. Lord's helped me a lot.
That's the thing that really is the bond between the two of you is your faith in God.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really helped us.
If it hadn't have been for the Lord, I wouldn't be here.
In what way? Like,
Well, different things happened to me. Like one sunny morning, I was going up to the barn to get the tractor and going to do a little grading, and I hooked up the blade, got the blade behind the tractor, and I raised the blade up to hook it, and that power takeoff got my britches in between my legs, and it pulled my pants down to my knees, and my britches up to my knees, took a hide off my legs, and would you believe the tractor stopped? And it wasn't out of gas. Talk. It just plumb stopped. And it took me a little bit to get unfastened from it. And things like that. I was working with her daddy and went into town plowing gardens for people with the tractor and plow. And I run low of gas, and I went up and filled the tractor full at the station there next to me, and went back down there and went to plowing back and forth on a hillside like, and I heard something kind of boiling. And I turned the motor off. There was steam coming out of that gas tank. It's like a tea kettle. I mean, it was really boiling. And if I'd have went any longer, it would probably just blew me up, you know, burnt me up, you know. But different times like that,
Right.
things happen.
right. Do you have stories like that?
Yeah, I've got one I can tell you. I was down here in this basement, and I was ironing, and the water heater was just sitting right there next to me there. And I finished ironing and went out to the store, and I told Paul, I said, "You're going to have to fix that water heater." I said, "It's that thing's come loose at the top," and I said, "It's all messed up. You know, you're going to have to put that top back on it, you know."
It had screws in the top around, you know. It pushed that plumb off and bent the pipes, half-inch pipe, right up against the 2x4.
He took off right quick and come out here and tell him what you done.
First thing I done, I went to the box and turned it off. And then I come upstairs and hit the hot water line and turned it all the way on. I run out the door because I knew it was ready to go, you know. But it didn't. Temperature gauge was on past 200 far as it'd go. I had a gauge on it down in the basement. If she hadn't told me about it, it would have blew right through the top of the house. It would have.
So this, you get quite emotional with this when you talk about your faith.
Yeah.
And that it's kept you together. So do you see that God had a plan for you both to be together? Was this destiny?
I think it's planned.
You have to help make it happen, you know. It don't just happen, you know. You've got to believe it. And
Marriage doesn't just happen, or elaborate on that for me.
No, you know, this thing staying together and everything it don't just happen, you know, automatically. You know, you got to work at it, you know, and you got to pray along, you know. That helps you keep your faith.
Yeah, it does.
What advice would you give to young people today about marriage and about what has helped you to survive all these years?
Well, I'd say the most important thing is to believe in Jesus Christ and get you a church that believes that, and stay in it and go regular, and then just pray and read your Bible and treat people right, treat people decent, you know. Don't take nothing from them. You don't need nothing nobody else has got. Just work hard and everything will be all right if you want to stay together, you know.
And you feel the same way?
Yeah, I feel the same way. You gotta live a life in front of young people that they have a faith in you, that you trust the Lord with all your hard folks. Even if you do bad, He'll forgive you if you ask Him. But if you don't ask Him, you won't never get forgiveness. You know, get down on your knees and ask Him, and you'll be forgiven. No matter how bad it is, if you really mean it and trust in the Lord, He'll forgive you. Every time, not just one time. He will a dozen times.
Well, it's wonderful to see people who have been together so long and still love each other. What's more important, friendship or love? Dorothy?
Well, I'd say you got to have both, you know. But love's more important, you know. You've got to have friendship too.
What do you think, Paul? Friendship or love? What's more important?
Love is the most important thing you can have. If you love somebody enough, no matter what they do to you, you'll forgive them. Forgive them, and they'll probably love you back. And you maybe not even know it, but they will. Yeah, that's what I got to say about love. It's the best thing you can have in your life.
You gotta give a little, take a little, and let your poor heart break a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love.